Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I'm coming off fresh homework on the Miami Heat. Of course, we played them tonight at Staples Center. I believe the game is either between 7 and 7:30, somewhere in there. Normal time, check for a 7, I'd say. It's one of those situations where the Miami Heat are coming off of a pretty solid win against the LA Clippers. That's who they played. They blew a 21-point lead in the fourth quarter, but were able to stave off that flurry with some great play by Bam Adebayo, who's just been scoring like crazy lately. And it's not really his game, from what I understand over the years. That's not really his go-to. But as of late, he's been upwards of 30, 32, 25. He's just been killing it ever since we saw him about 5 games ago with him coming back from injury. You got to also take into account that Jimmy Butler's down there doing Jimmy stuff. I saw highlights of his game against the Jazz where Tyler Hero won the game at the buzzer. He was really attacking them in the fourth quarter, getting into the paint and ultimately putting them in positions to have what was a pretty solid lead for them dissipate. So we just got to keep an eye on this Miami Heat team. They're winning games left and right. They're beating pretty much everyone that's in front of them. And I think they've won like 7 out of 8 on the road. So that'll tell you where they're at with it. And I think the easiest game they've played over the last 5 games was against us, believe it or not. They beat us by like 20-something points in a game where we weren't sure that Bam and Jimmy were going to play, and they came out and starred, basically. They were the focal point. So we really got knocked out there. The game has changed a little bit for us because we play TB a lot more than we had in that matchup since. He's been averaging up above 30 minutes a game, and in that game we played him only 22 minutes. So I thought that was a big part of the adjustment that our team has made. It's just gone to size since that game. We've tend to have better size matchups, better rotations. JTA has come back, that sort of thing. So we're a much better team, I believe, than we were when we last saw them a week and a half ago. The thing about this Miami Heat team is not only do they have Bam Adebayo scoring a lot, but they also got Victor Oladipo coming back, playing at a high level. They're starting to give him more minutes, getting him back to starters minutes, 30 minutes in the last game. And he's been doing a lot of stuff defensively, particularly against our guy. We had some issues with Austin Reeves. He just came in there and really blitzed Austin in that last matchup against the Heat. Kept him 0 for 4. It was a real tough matchup. So we got to keep an eye on Victor Oladipo at the level that he's playing at right now. He changes the game for the Heat. If he can turn back into some remnants of what he used to be, they're immediately vaulted into a contender, if you ask me. So we got to be very careful to keep an eye on Victor. He's playing well, he's healthy, and that is not a good thing for us. Also, they're giving a lot of minutes to Max Strus, and we know who he is. We often talk about some of his shooting inefficiencies, but the ball has been pretty falling. So we got to be aware that they're going to him on their bench, and he's a two-way guy that's going to look to defend and look to stretch the floor and score a lot. So if we're paying attention to the Heat, we got to know that he's going to be there. Duncan Robinson, obviously a three-point shooter. They've worked him into their equation much more this season, as we've talked about. And the role is solid for him. He's hitting shots. He just broke the Miami Heat record for the most threes made in a game a couple games ago. And you know, he's solid. You know, it's not like he's attempting a lot of shots, but he comes in and hits key threes and can really do a lot for them in that way. So we need to obviously keep an eye on him. Kyle Lowry did not play in the game that we had against the Heat last week, but will likely be available tonight. You know, he's just doing regular stuff that he normally does, getting people involved, hitting threes, getting to the line, stuff like that. It's just going to be Kyle Lowry. He doesn't necessarily need to be in the best shape in the world to be highly effective on an NBA floor. His game is going to allow for him to get others involved, hit his shots, and ultimately be a pest on the defensive side of the ball with his big body. So we're going to have to keep an eye on him, obviously, without any doubt. Gabe Vincent. Now, Gabe's shot hasn't been falling as of late, but I never count on that because I've seen Gabe play so well so often that he can very easily snap out of that slump tonight. The minutes haven't really been there for those guys, him and Caleb Martin, like normal, because of the rise of Victor Oladipo. And Tyler Hero, of course, who we'll talk about in a second. But, you know, you just want to make sure that you keep an eye on the role players of the Miami Heat because they really are a pick and plug, next man up type of team to the highest order. I mean, it doesn't matter who's on the floor. They're going to play the same way, and they're playing extremely well. They got a lot of size now. I think Dedmon is due to possibly come back tonight after being out for some time. Of course, just like anybody who plays against the Lakers and is almost back from injury, they want to try it against us. So we'll probably have to deal with Dwayne. Orlando Robinson is also down there in the paint. He's somebody who creates problems for us. We did a little homework on him last matchup, and He didn't have the biggest impact in the game, but we could definitely see where his big body could create problems for them if they choose to lean on him. With Bam playing like this, it's probably not going to happen too much for him tonight, but just in case, we need to keep an eye on their young center, Robinson. Who else I want to mention on this team is everybody. They're playing a really, really good style of basketball right now collectively. They've won some close games. You know, they've overcome some scoring droughts, and I think that's something that we kind of zero in on when talking about the Miami Heat. They tend to go on scoring droughts. They don't assist the ball as well as you would think they would for some of the players that they have on this team. And one of the situations that they've run into for success is just kind of finding an inside-out game with Bam Adebayo scoring so much. I would like for us to try to get him off of the floor and see if Robinson and Dedmon can try to beat us, because basically without Bam's consistent 30-point, 25-point scoring right now, the Miami Heat are a different basketball team. It's really his go-to scoring. If he would have gave them this all his career, they'd be a different team every year, because most of the time it's really the scoring that ultimately doesn't come from him, and they're settling for jump shots and forcing their defense to turn into offense. But right now they're in a half-court setting. They can just get it to him, and he's getting and-ones. He's dunking on people. He's just acting up. So we got to understand that everything is revolving around Bam right now. He is helping them get easy buckets and easy offensive rebounds, stuff like that. Obviously, defensively, he's going to kill it. So we just have to understand that that's the way the Heat are playing right now. Things are being run through Bam much more than usual, and it's working. It's working a lot. So that's really what it comes down to. We need Thomas Bryant to be on point tonight. Of course, he's been giving us double-doubles with high rebounding. That needs to continue for sure. Wenyen Gabriel also, we need to see him continue to fight. I like what I saw against Williams in the Hornets game. Even though he was a little outmatched, he was pushing hard and doing the things that he normally does. And I love what he gives us every single game when he's played the right amount of minutes. So I think having him in rotation is important. JTA, same thing. He's been really good with the minutes given. And given the fact that we're so much better team when we go with lineups with size, I want to see us continue to empower him to get some minutes out there. And I'd like to see us give him the three-point shot when he's down there, because I know he can shoot it. Also, you know, we want to give credit to all of our guys. LeBron James has been absolutely phenomenal these last couple of games, man. Well, the last 20 years, to be honest. But we want to zero in on what we just saw. He's been averaging upwards of 5 points, 42 points, something like that these last 2 games. Atlanta, he had no problem. Charlotte, he had no problem. He's just been absolutely on a tear. And I've had a lot of fun watching him play. And that's really what it's been about. It's the fun nature of what we're seeing when he's going out there just going completely haywire. And I think that, you know, as you guys have heard me talk about, I think that the NBA is officiating the game for higher scores. I think they've adjusted the game so they can get more out of the offensive talent. And I think LeBron James is taking advantage of that as much as anybody. We're just able to see him just continue to refine his game with open jump shots. Well, not open jump shots, but defenses aren't playing as hard as they normally do. And we're loving that, because he's able to take advantage and still get to the lane, do all the things that he normally does, dunking, shooting his jumper, and even creating new moves where he sweeps underneath the basket and then turns around for a fadeaway three mid-range. Like, these are types of things that he's continuing to add to his game, and, you know, just being all around all-world. And so we're extremely happy that he's playing at this high level, and we just don't want the good times to end. Straight up. We want to continue to see him play at this level and continue to see him provide the easy buckets that he gives our team, because without them, we are not even competitive, let alone good. So we need Bron. And that's something that I've really, really learned to appreciate these last couple of days. It's just how easy games are, how much easier it is to score from possession to possession when he's in his bag like this. Now, when he's shooting threes and taking possessions not so seriously, it could hurt us. Obviously, we talked a lot about how we don't want to continue to see the pace play it the way we saw it against Charlotte. It mimicked the Boston game, and although we had a better outcome, at the end of the day, we gave back a massive amount of our momentum in the fourth quarter, playing the ball, you know, in a way that allowed for the clock to kind of not really work in our favor, even though that's what we were attempting to do. We slowed the pace down, and as a result, we played into the defense's hands, and they were able to have more quality possessions down the stretch of the game than they were able to get throughout the meat of the game. So it's one of those situations where I just wanted us to take a look at how we closed out that game, how we approached having like a 10 and 12 point lead, with like 4.5 to go. We need to get better at those drills, because when we have big leads, we give them back by way of the way we try to strategize to keep from giving them back. So we got to do the opposite. I think keeping the pedal to the metal and having that killer instinct where you're looking to score is the way to go. Keep the team that you're going against in a hurt locker. You don't want the time to run out, because you want to continue to keep your hands around their necks and have them feel it. So that's one of those situations where it's like, I don't want our team to get caught up in playing not to lose. We've lost games that way. We need to play to win. We need to be aggressive, and we need to keep that type of mentality until this buzzer ends. That doesn't mean shoot early in the shot clock, but it also doesn't mean walk the ball down to a slow crawl and then get into a half-court set where you shoot with 2 seconds left in the shot clock, fade away or something like that. These are the type of plays we're settling for with 10-point leads with 3.5 to go. And as a result, we're giving games back. So we can't afford to drop any more games. I know the Miami Heat are playing great right now. Obviously, this is one of those games where you can start drinking, if you know what I mean. We've used that analogy before, where the team takes on a little pressure and doesn't continue to apply it in response. They tend to get moody and emotional, get focused on the wrong things, and ultimately let their defense go by the wayside. They tend to not guard three-point shooters when certain things start going wrong. Refs don't give us calls 2 or 3 plays in a row. We miss shots 2 and 3 plays in a row. Then guys stop rotating the same way, stop fighting around screens the same way. And coach, in my eyes, seems like he also kind of loses his focus. Sometimes the rotations aren't adjusted out of quick enough. Sometimes he'll leave a guy out there to struggle or what have you. Little stuff like that. We just got to keep our focus when the game starts to get out of hand. Coming out in the third quarter, we know we're not the greatest third quarter team, but we do need to understand that against a Miami Heat team, if we don't come out with the right matchups and we don't come out of that locker room, it ain't gonna matter what the score is. They're gonna get the better of us in that third quarter. We have got to understand that they're gonna play very, very active out of that halftime locker room. And if we don't expect them to have a 40-point quarter come out in the third quarter, then we're approaching it wrong. We got to assume teams are going to play their best basketball out of that halftime locker. And that's what I want our Lakers to psych themselves into understanding. There's nothing more important than jogging out of that locker room with the intention of being just as intense as you were in that first half. If you're not giving yourself a pep talk in that locker room that has it so that you're propelling yourself toward more energy exerting and more of a tough battle ahead where you need more focus, then you're not doing it right. I don't know what's going on coming out of that locker room for the majority of this season, but we have got to make that a strength of ours. And the matchups coming out of that quarter, out of that locker room is important. I know he likes to start with size disadvantages, but sometimes teams, after they've gotten a good half look at you, they know what you've just run, and they come out and take advantage of what it is that they didn't take advantage of in the first half. So coming out with a different look in the second half, or a more traditional size look in the second half, is something I'm curious to see if it could work for us, because I just think teams, once they get a first half look at you running small, they're going to know exactly what to do with you coming out of that locker room. So that's one thing that I've been thinking about. Austin Reeves has kind of bounced back, played better in the last game after having almost an unplayable week where his ankle injury, I think, was messing with him, but I don't want to let that be an excuse. He just wasn't playing well. So we love what he saw out of him in the last game. And even though it was only in 22 minutes, I think he may have re-aggravated the ankle a little bit, unfortunately. He's not listed as questionable or anything, so we're just going to need to see if his body responds well to the rest, and hopefully he can give us his best, because we can't beat the Miami Heat if he plays like he did the last time we played them. 0 for 4, a couple turnovers, sat down and never seen again. We can't win. He needs to play better, or we can't win. So that's important to say. AD, from what I understand, the pain is dissipated. We're anticipating him coming back somewhere within the month. I'm skeptical. I just felt it was necessary to mention it, but I don't know. We'll see. If he comes back at some point, we'll believe it when we see it. Let's see, what else are we talking about? I really like what I'm seeing overall from the Miami Heat as a team, which means we're going to have to play our best in order to compete with them. They're in a good groove. They're beating everybody. The Clippers, they got them. The Heat are beating teams like the Jazz as well at the buzzer, with Tyler Hero just splashing it in the end of the game. And this is the guy that you're going to have to deal with. His three-point shot is falling. He's one of the best free throw shooters in the world. He dances all over you. He's real slippery and smooth and silky. And you just got to understand that this is a guy whose game is just continuing to grow with every passing shot he takes. Tyler Hero is going to be a star, if not already a very solidified one. And you got to know that if you don't guard him It doesn't matter if he's going 1 for 8. It doesn't matter if he's going 2 for 7 or whatever this case may be. You need to understand that he can get hot and stay hot forever after being cold. He can do that. He's one of those guys. He hit a shot for 3 quarters, and in the 4th quarter, he goes for 25. He's like that. So we need to understand that, and we need to respect his ability to pass the ball too, because what he's also doing this year is getting assists left and right. When he's hot, it's not just him scoring 25 points in elite shooting. Nah, he's walking around with 7 assists. He's walking out of there with 6 assists. So we need to understand that he's playmaking. He is playmaking. And we need to keep him from being as comfortable as he is by keeping players on him that can stay in front of him. I don't know who that would be, but I know that we have some players like Troy Brown, who played excellent that last game, where we started him at the 3, and he just gave us all we needed. Stealing the ball, hitting shots, defense to offense for Troy was most important. And for him being down there with Oladipo throwing, playing defense, guys like Gabe Vincent playing D, Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, we're going to need that same confidence and intensity from Troy Brown and from all of our other guys on that side of the ball, so we could give them the same little bit of what they're giving us. At the end of the day, this is a much more talented basketball team than us. They got stars in playing roles that know their role and can be next man up. They got bigs that can stretch the floor and can play dirty if they need to, 6 fouls to give. They got forwards and guards that can stretch the floor and get in the lane and dance and create problems on the defensive end as well. They got shooters that can knock down shots, hit 7 to 8 threes in a night. You know what I mean? They got guys who can be in the paint and also attack you, like Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. So it just doesn't end for a Miami Heat team that is really, really talented. They're missing a couple guys. Jovic, one of my favorite rookies, had some type of back issue that's going to have him out for a good portion of the season at this point, so that's tough. But at the end of the day, they're fairly healthy. As I said, Dedmon should be coming back possibly tonight. And I just look at them as a team that we're going to have to box out. TB's rebounding, Bron's rebounding, and the guards too. Guys like, Thomas Bryant, TB, the other TB, Troy Brown, Austin. We need all these guys to rebound the ball, Winyan. It's going to be important for guys to get over 6 rebounds apiece if they can. Russell Westbrook was benched in the last game. That's something we need to talk about. I don't know what they said. He was listed. He had something going on with his foot. He's listed as day-to-day and questionable tonight, but I think it's a good chance he'll go because he doesn't usually miss games at all. Bron is also listed as questionable, even though I don't have any reason to believe he ain't going to play against the Heat at home. It's worth mentioning that is the case. And also, Lonnie Walker is considered questionable right now. With some of the way that he's been playing, trying to fight through injury, I don't mind us continuing to sit him until he's 100%. Because if his mechanics aren't right, he's not going to help us like we need him to. And when he is right, he's not going to hurt us. So I just want us to continue to see if he can get 100% healthy. We got the guards in rotation that can keep up. We've got good play out of Dennis Schroeder, good play out of Patrick Beverley in the small ball lineups with Troy Brown in there. So we've had more success guard-wise without Lonnie lately. And we just got to get him healthy in order for us to really get the most out of him. Plus, I don't think our coach I don't think Lonnie is used correctly on this team right now. Having him play in small ball lineups with Dennis Schroeder and Patrick Beverley, making him the 3 is the worst thing in the world. So I'd like us to keep Troy Brown in that lineup and not ever ask Lonnie Walker to play the 3 in that rotation ever again. So that's something that is very important. I don't want us to ever put him in that lineup again. It is a huge deterrent to what it is that Patrick Beverley and Dennis Schroeder automatically have negative aspects for. You don't want more size disadvantage, more defensive disadvantages when you are playing 2 tiny guys who have one-way ability on both sides. You just cannot let Lonnie be the 3rd guy in that rotation. No. So I love that he put TB in that lineup, and it needs to stay that way. So that's stuff I'm going to be looking for, man. I don't want to see any letdowns tonight. I don't want to see no drinking tonight as it pertains to our team giving up leads and letting the clock run out and hoping that the clock saves our butt. It's funny because Eric Spoelstra said something about that in regards to his own team. I think it was against the Nuggets I read. He was like, you can't trust the clock to run out for you. You cannot do that. The exact same thing we've been talking about is the very thing that the coach we're going up against tonight told his team. So we need to understand that. He's going to continue to put his pedal to the metal and try to close us out. We need to also not be bashful with the clock and play to lose. Or not to lose, rather. So this is a situation where I'm looking for killer instinct tonight. Obviously, LeBron James has been playing with a lot of inspiration coming off that Atlanta game with his birthday and his family in attendance. I like that he was motivated for that one, came back into Charlotte and gave us that same energy. That's what is required. He told us that the 30-point games wasn't working. We ain't scoring enough, so he needs to go for 40. He's been able to deliver. I would ask him to try to do it again. You know, this is a game, obviously, you're going against the Heat. Team you won 2 championships with, 3 NBA Finals, MVP, all that stuff. The greatest NBA Heat player in the history of the sport is on our team. So anytime we go up against the Heat, it's a big deal, and we want to see if we can get a victory for him tonight. Obviously, with guys like Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Victor Oladipo, and Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and Duncan Robinson. I mean, it goes on forever. They got all the talent in the world. But at the end of the day, they're coming up against a Laker team that's won 3 out of 4 as well. They're coming up against a Laker team that's won them games on the road. We ain't even been home in 2 weeks. So, you know, this is a situation where the Heat are running into a much better Laker team that should be motivated, given the fact they beat us last time, very recently, and did it in a way that made it look real easy. It was the worst loss we've had in the flurries of losses as it pertains to teams beating us handedly. And so I want to see us get back at this team. We ain't going to have no surprises tonight. We know Bam's playing. We know Jimmy's playing. We know Kyle Lowry's playing, and that's the difference. The last game, we thought them dudes wasn't going to be out there, and they came out there and killed us. So there won't be no catching us off guard tonight. With that being said, if we don't guard, we won't win. We have to stay on our defensive. We got to stay on our defensive principles, and it's that simple. You heard the names. Those are not people you can play with. They're all big players. They all made all-star teams. They're all going to continue to play well together. If you don't take it to them, they will take it to you, and they will take home a victory. That's all there is to it. You know, the Miami Heat beating on the Clippers, no problem. So they've had shots fall in this building as of late. You know, they've been on the road. They beat the Jazz, you know, at the buzzer in a tough game. Denver got them, but they had a lead in a good portion of that game. They had like a 7-point lead down the stretch of that game, and then Murray went on a flurry after having a cold game. He killed him in the fourth. So it's one of those situations where it's like you got to be able to simulate some of that. You know, you got to be able to kind of take Bam out of the situation. You got to be able to contain those guards. There's a lot of things that our team is going to have to do. So rotations, intelligent and sound size rotations will be a make or break type of thing for us. If we have funny rotations like we did in the fourth quarter of that Hornets game, which I forgot to mention because the rotations were not good in that quarter, we will find ourselves with a disadvantage against a very, very intelligent Erik Spoelstra. You know, one of the best coaches in the game, you know, NBA champion. He knows enough about us, having seen us in the finals, having coached LeBron as much as he did. He knows us, and we need to understand that. Pat Riley, obviously, this is his team. You know, anytime the Lakers and the Heat come together, it ain't nothing but history. So we need to understand how important this game could potentially be. The way games are being played right now, the scores are super high. We just saw the Boston Celtics get 150 points scored on them in the last game. Guys are scoring crazy. Donovan Mitchell went for 71. Bron, of course, in his numbers. Giannis got 55 last night. It's a career high. The game is just played in a very, very explosive offensive way right now. So I want our guys to be able to put up big points in this era too. If the game is inflated in such a way where everybody's scoring 120, there should be no reason why we're not doing the same. I want to see us take advantage of everything everybody else is. You know what I mean? Get to the line. Draw as much attention to yourself as you can. Playing the ball around the perimeter in the last game was a big deal. We were able to get a lot of good passes, passing the extra man around the perimeter, looking for things that worked for us, taking good shots, making good shots, and passing good bad ones. Three-point discipline, rebounding the basketball, turnovers must be kept down. We've been turning the ball over a little more than I like to see as of late, even though we've been winning these games. Three-point discipline has kind of taken a little bit of a dip, not too much, but enough to where it's noticeable. We need to get back to missing or passing up shots that we have no business taking from behind the arc. We are a obviously much better interior scoring team, and we can get more quality possessions if we continue to stay true to that. Kobe minute, you guys. I've been forgetting to announce the Kobe minute as of late, but we are definitely in that, and I want to salute Bean for all that he's done in helping the Lakers stay above the fray. You know, as I said, the Boston Celtics got their butts whooped. They got 150 points dropped on them. I think that is most important to appreciate as Laker fans. I don't care what's going on. I don't care what the media tells us about the Lakers and the Celtics not being a big rivalry no more. Any of our real rivals, when we see them lose, it's a big deal. With that being said, the Miami Heat are a rival as well. Maybe not to that degree, obviously, but this is a lot of history here. LeBron. We don't know how many more games he's going to have against the Miami Heat. The way the league is, you only see the Heat twice if you play in the Western Conference. Maybe he misses a game next year against the Heat or something. You just don't know. So anytime we get a chance to see the Heat and the Kings on the floor, we need to make that something we are motivated by. That's the name of the game. The team has been motivated lately. You know, Charlotte and being on the East Coast, our team loves playing on the road because LeBron James is able to showcase his talent for guys that don't get to see him very often. You know, playing buildings that he don't get to go to but once a year. So it's a really big deal for him on these road trips, and he's highly motivated to show out for his fans. We need to piggyback that when we come home and do it for our fans as well. You know, obviously, much has been said about our struggles at home. Guys like Russell Westbrook who've, you know, kind of had some issues in this building that maybe they haven't been seeing on the road. That's what I'm going to be looking for. We're on a homestand again. And for our team, I feel like the home games often are road games for some of our players because of the pressure that comes from being of our team, because of how bad of a team we tend to be at home. And just it's not necessarily something that I think brings the most fun for our team as a unit. They tend to have pressure coming from our fans. You know what I mean? We will not necessarily boo them like we in Philly or nothing like that, but I think the pressure of being a Laker, that purple and gold looking in banners, I think it's really, really crushing, not crushing, but it weighs on the shoulders of some of the players that put on this uniform. So for me, I have that in my mind, and I'm of the mindset that we actually are a better road team than a home team because of that dynamic. And so I want guys to bust that theory up. I want to see us play better at home than we played on the road these last couple games. I want to believe that our team isn't afraid of our fans. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I'm dead serious. Because I get to feeling that sometimes guys just don't want to play in front of us. They see that purple and gold and it's too much for them, man. Yeah, I really believe that. And so as our team struggles at home, it tends to drink at home against games with pressures applied. I want to see us respond well to home games and being in the building where the team and the arena is cheering for you. You know what I mean? Don't allow that pressure of being a Laker psych you into thinking that the people around that arena don't want you to succeed. That's all we want. That's all we ever want, is to see you succeed. And if being quiet is going to help you win, I'm sure Laker Nation will be quiet. I've seen us do it at the free throw line for Shaq and Kobe. We could pick that place as quiet as a church mouse. When we need to make it crazy, I've seen us make the decibels in that place go as loud as hell. This fan base is capable of being better than we've been at home, and that is something we need to talk about. You go on the road, you see how Charlotte roars when LeBron James does a reverse dunk. You see how Atlanta roars when LeBron James is hitting a fadeaway jump shot. Listen, we don't roar like that like we need to. And the bottom line is this team needs a lot of support. This team benefits from home support. They do have anxiety at home. They do not always play well when that purple and gold is there. They do not always act like they are at home when they're home. So we need to make them feel more at home when they're home. Straight up. And that's on us, Laker Nation. That's on everybody in that building who bought tickets to enjoy the Laker game. Y'all got to get up off your feet. We got a rare home game since we've been playing on the road for the last month and a half. Let our guys feel good if you're there, man. Let our guys feel that good energy. You know what I mean? Don't boo Russell Westbrook just because he does something bad, because all that's going to do is beget him doing more bad. I kid you not. Guys benefit from support with this particular unit. They rally around each other for motivational moments and tend to go by the wayside for moments they can't get up for. Tend to go by the wayside for moments they're getting pressured and it's not feeling good. And guys don't feel good about each other, lose trust for each other. And it's just a comedy of errors from that point. So having seen teams do that, our team do that so much this year, and we're coming back home for the first time in like 2 weeks, I want to put a massive emphasis on our fans to roar and cheer our crowd, and for our players to, you know, don't get the bubble guts and don't get too scared about facing the Laker fan base who loves you to no end, who wants you to win to no end, and demands excellence from you, because that is what we've always known. So that's what we're asking our team to do. Beat the Miami Heat, a team that's won 7 out of the last 8 games. Beat the Miami Heat, a team that's won most of their road games on this road trip. Beat the Miami Heat, who've won a million different ways, having had deficits in these games and big leads in these games that they've blown. Keep that in mind. They blow leads. They do find themselves down by 17. They do have to fight their way out of circumstances where they have scoring droughts. They don't assist the ball as good as they should for the players that they have. We can attack them. And if you get Bam out of bounds in foul trouble and make them try to run Orlando Robinson and a fresh back Dwayne Dedmon, we should be able to have some success. Don't lose sight of the fact that Dedmon can shoot the three. So can Bam, so can Orlando, I think. I'm not certain, but I would suspect that they don't have problems shooting the ball at all. They don't. So keep that in mind. Victor Oladipo, defensively, watch him. Watch him. I'm telling you, watch him. Him and Bam and Jimmy, they make life hard, man. We're going to have to fight tonight, Lakers. This is not going to be an easy game. And you can't be deterred by the fact that you have a deficit or whatever, because like I said, they let teams back in. So that's what I got to say, man. It's going to be a tough one, but I'm not accepting a loss as I'm anticipating this game. We're playing too well. We're just playing too well. The Miami Heat going to have to deal with us unless we start drinking. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching.